On November 26, 1930, a story was published on the front page of Canada's Maiden Daily Journal newspaper. The headline was "Village of the Dead." This report sent a wave of fear across Canada because in northern Canada, an entire tribe had vanished overnight without a single trace. Welcome back once again, viewers, to Joe region of northern Canada. There is Angikuni Lake. On the shore of this lake, in a small settlement, an Eskimo tribe lived. Around 100 to 150 people lived there, surviving by catching fish from the lake. This is an area of northern Canada where not just thousands, but millions of square kilometers contain only a few thousand residents, and the reason is the extremely harsh climate. Besides fishing in Angikuni Lake, hunting also took place in the surrounding areas, and for that reason, many hunters would often come here. It was a bitterly cold day in November 1930 when a hunter named Joe Labelle came to this region to hunt. He got so busy hunting that he didn't even realize when it became dark. He had an idea. Just like before, he would go to the Eskimo tribe's settlement on the shore of the lake and spend the night there. The people of this tribe were well known for warmly welcoming outsiders, so Joe packed his gear and started walking toward the settlement. It was a moonlit night, but there was complete silence as far as he could see. No person was visible, and no voices could be heard. He could only hear the sound of his own footsteps. He had done this before, but tonight felt different. Normally, as he got closer, he would hear the sounds of the dogs that the villagers kept. But even when he neared the settlement, there was only emptiness and silence. Feeling this, Joe sped up. He thought maybe the villagers were asleep, or maybe they had gone somewhere. From a distance, he could already see the tents of the settlement, and he could even see smoke rising from some of them. But even after getting close, he still didn't hear a single voice. Finally, when Joe Labelle entered the settlement, he was shocked to see that there were no people and no animals either. What was even more disturbing was that smoke was still rising from some of the homes, as if someone were inside. He went into a random tent, but no one was there. The same was true of every tent. Joe might have ignored the whole scene and left, but one thing made him even more uneasy. In some homes, cooking pots were still sitting on the stove, but the food inside had burned. That means someone had put food on to cook for the night, but they never got the chance to eat it. Even the women's sewing work was still there. Clothes were left out, and there was still thread in the needle. It looked as if the villagers had left suddenly. But where did they go? Joe Labelle began searching the entire settlement. He saw that the dogs the tribe kept were still tied up with ropes around their necks, but the dogs had died of hunger. Food was present in front of them, but there was no human being there to feed them. In one place, he saw a grave that appeared to have been freshly dug. It didn't look old at all. Seeing all this, Joe's fear and anxiety grew intensely. At night, alone, witnessing this entire scene, he panicked. In that region, whenever people go anywhere, they always take their dogs with them. But what Joe saw made it seem like something very strange had happened, some terrible incident that forced people to leave suddenly. So suddenly that they left their dogs behind, couldn't even take their clothes, and couldn't even put out the fire that was burning. Joe couldn't handle it for long. As quickly as possible, he reached the nearest telegraph office. From there, he contacted the camps of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and told them everything he had seen. When the police arrived at the village, what Joe Labelle described turned out to be true. The police suspected that maybe someone had attacked, killed all the villagers and taken them away. But if that had happened, there would be bloodstains somewhere. Even if there were no blood, there would be scattered belongings from a struggle. The police immediately launched a search operation to find the missing villagers. During this search, they discovered something very unusual, something Joe perhaps hadn't noticed. The entire settlement was covered in snow, but there were no footsteps on that snow. Not only were there no footsteps from the villagers, there were no footsteps from anyone at all, except Joe Labelle's own. Meaning if no one came and no one left besides Joe, then where did the villagers go? The lake was actually frozen over, and the villagers' boats were pulled up and parked on land, because in this season, fishing doesn't happen. That's why boats are dragged onto land and stored. If the villagers had gone somewhere by swimming across the lake, or if someone had killed them and thrown them into the lake, then the layer of ice on top would definitely have been broken or cracked somewhere. During the investigation, police also learned that the people had disappeared 8 days before Joe arrived, because dogs don't die from just 1 or 2 days of hunger. And the smoke coming from the homes was a sign that they hadn't been gone long, because even after the wood fire dies, smoke can still continue for quite a while. The police had many questions, but not a single answer. After months of searching, the police finally labeled the case unsolved and closed it forever. Over time, people also forgot about it. But 50 years later, in 1984, writers named Roger Bloor and Nigel Blundell wrote an article and tried to connect the entire incident to aliens. In their article, they said that when they went to explore this area near Angikuni Lake, they met a hunter and his 2 sons. Those people told them that they often saw objects flying over the lake, objects with different shapes, and that these objects would fly toward the same settlement where the Eskimo tribe lived. Using this story as a base, it was suggested that maybe that night aliens landed and took all the people of the settlement with them. But these 2 writers had no solid proof of aliens or any attack, so most people didn't believe and rejected the theory. After that, many people began making different stories about the disappearance of the Eskimo tribe. But the truth is, it's been nearly 100 years since this incident, and even today, no one has an answer to the question, where did the people of Angikuni Lake settlement go without leaving a trace? The disappearance of the Eskimo tribe remains a mystery to this day. We